So I don't, why is this only, oh, start streaming to reconnect, that's okay. So where was I actually with this project? Let's see. We say Gatsby develop, and oh I see what I was doing. I was trying to figure out how to get authentication to actually work. So this might not be the most exciting stream in the world, unfortunately, but I think it's going to be interesting enough, especially if I actually figure out how to get this to work. And I got about an hour and a half time to work on it. So we are trying to figure out this damn login button, and please tell me if you can, if you need me to zoom in on anything or whatever. So I'm gonna, okay, so we have a bunch of console logs going on. That's a good sign. So we can also go to auth0.com and see if that has any useful information for us. Okay, log in. I guess that's my username and password. Great. So logins 17, we have one user with Google OAuth 2, which is me. Okay, so now let's see what actually happens. In application, it's that. So log in, that goes to the login thing. We click login with Google, get that, go through the login process. Need to pick the right password, and that lets us through, but then we have a problem. A misconfiguration in the system or a service outage. Cool. Read the docs, context service status. All systems operational, that's good. Okay, so undefined property blah teardown. Okay, let's just try that again and see. Maybe it was an intermittent failure, or maybe I changed something here and things stopped working. Localhost 8000 auth0 callback is still okay, because if we go to applications, this client ID is matching, I believe, yes. Thread compiler, that's our domain that we have in here, so that's all matching. Client secret, no. Where do we have to actually pass the secret at some point? It's interesting. Application logo, single page app, localhost 0 auth callback. List of allowed origins for use with cross-origin authentication and web message response mode. Logout URLs. Interesting. Okay, so I'm just gonna try again. And has anyone actually gotten this working before? Because that would be very useful to me. So log in with Google, click, gets through, comes back and says invalid token, state does not match. Cool. So we know we actually got an error, which is a good sign, surprisingly. Now, why is that a good sign? Let's see. Gatsby browser, no, not Gatsby config, Gatsby browser. That's this one, that console logs. So where are we console logging auth result? Git grep auth result. That is in auth.js now. Hey Jared, I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. When you say you've been saving them for later, what does that actually mean? Okay, so this is our auth result. I think I can't talk. Yeah, I can't chat back on Facebook, so hopefully you can hear me. It's console log auth result, and then we get the error description here. Okay, so auth result. Let's add a debugger statement here so that we can get a slightly better. It's basically gonna stop our program from running, and we'll be able to inspect what the actual state is. That's weird. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, invalid token, yes. Cool. Click login. Thread compiler, login with the Google. Blah. Swizzets at swizzets.com. And pausing in the debugger. Okay, now let's see what the fuck is going on here. So error. Error, invalid token, error description, state does not match. So let's see auth 0 invalid token error. Okay, and we're gonna see if errors with code invalid token, state does not match. Okie doke. Cool. So we're gonna look at that in a bit. Now, what was I trying to figure out with this auth 0? That's our web auth thing. Base options, domain, I don't know what that is. Pop-up origin undefined. Response type token ID token, redirect, root URL, that thing. Oh, sweet. How have you been liking the React in D3 course? Are you doing it on Teachable, or are you using the PDF version? Client, base options, DB connection, I have no idea what any of this does. Cross origin, blah, pop-up, blah, redirect, transactions, invalid token, state does not match. Okay. Okay. Error message, the ID token, no. State does not mention state. Alright. Invalid token, state does not match. Response type token. I get the same error starting from the 01 log. Are you doing all this from the same domain, say localhost? The only times I've seen this happen is if the state value you're sending to auth 0 isn't a string. If so, the issue isn't with the hosted login page, but with your application. The state is generated by your application. In this case, I assume by auth0.js. The fuck is state? And is used to prevent a variety of attacks. If it changes between your app starting the auth flow and receiving the callback from auth0, it's actually a good thing that login fails. On GitHub, some folks seem to be having the same problem, also because of an issue with the state not being a string. I tried to clear local storage first to see what? Okay. You're linking directly to the login page and therefore are not. There's a section about the buttons for login and logout. You can see you don't link to auth0 yourself, you use auth0.js to do the work for you. Okay, so I think I'm doing the setup wrong. So we're gonna go back here and look at the quick start and verify my setup. Because I have a feeling I was rushing through the tutorial, and in this case that was a bad idea. Einbisken has a question. He's got a web app that is set up to run through bundle.js. Is there any way to make changes without having to rebuild every time? there is no way to make changes without having to rebuild every time. What you might want to do, depending on how you have it set up, is Webpack can do incremental builds. So if you run Webpack in watch mode, it's then able to incrementally build stuff, which makes it faster. So you don't have to wait as long to get updates. I also forgot to start my timers. Cool, so let's see. Oh, I should also... Oh, I did start that timer. No, that's wrong. Why is this not connecting? Sorry guys, just a sec. I like to have timers running for different things I'm doing. So I want to actually track my live coding, and I have this little thing that I just put on different phases. So I have a live coding phase, a research phase, building phase, and so on. So the idea is that I can just flip it around and it starts tracking a different project, but it sometimes doesn't connect. Okay. 10 viewers, wow. So integrate with my app, configure auth 0. We have the keys, we have the callback URLs, install auth 0.js, I think we have that, yeah, auth 0.js, yarn add auth 0.js. Once you install auth 0.js, add it to your build system or bring it into your project with a script tag. So we did add it to our system. Greg Ryden, I'm yes, programmer. That is a very vague question. So we have the auth imported here, and where else do we have it imported? It should also be imported in index.js. It is. So we always have some sort of auth, and I'm actually going to make a tiny change, and from auth.js I'm going to export an instance of auth, so we don't have to instantiate it every time. So auth React, so auth handle authentication. Here we have, where does it say auth? It's going to use auth directly. Auth 0 callback is already doing it. Auth.js also, this auth 0 blah. So we say class auth, and we say export default new auth, like that. Okay. Let's see, where else am I using? Oh, cool. So if you've used WordPress, especially if you've done any modifications, you are a programmer in my book. What is this app.js file? Where did this come from? No idea. Okay. So we got this thing. Login button is supposed to figure out whether it's authenticated or not. Okay. So we added it to the build system. Authentication with auth 0. So auth.js here. Universal login is the easiest way. Create an authentication service. Auth 0 domain is our domain. Client ID. Redirect. URL is what we want. Response type token, token ID. Scope open ID. Okay. Login is this auth 0 authorize. Cool. And try to import the auth service from somewhere in your application. Call the login method from the service to see the login page. That's that. That works. Handle authentication tokens. Add more methods, which we did, I think. So we have login, we have handle authentication, we have logout and all of that. Access token, ID token expires at. Okay. And then set session does what? Navigates to /app. That navigates to the home route, which should be fine. Okay, we got all of that done. I'm pretty sure we have. Provide a login control. So let's check the login control. Button on click says auth.logout or auth.login. Component did mount. Aha, let's try that. So we go into browser.js and I'm going to do that and then use effect. How do we use effect only on login? Okay, so use effect empty array and we say const renew session equals auth. So we take renew session out of our auth function and down we say if local storage.getItem is logged in equals to true, then we renew the session okay, we can actually do that. So renew session, and that's going to, what does renew session do? So if we go to our auth thing, renew session checks the session with auth 0, figures out the access token stuff, and then calls set session, which navigates to app, which then renders the login button, which might actually cause a huge problem, but we will see. We might end up in an infinite loop. Let's make sure that let's console log infinite loop question mark. We'll see if that happens. So that's renew session, and then we render a button for login or logout, which is here. If we are authenticated, which is a method, if authenticated we render a logout button, otherwise we render a login button. So that way we're gonna see if it works. This example uses blah, depending on whether the user is authenticated or not. The login page, add a callback component. So our callback component is actually the auth 0 callback page, which is this one. Would I recommend Gatsby? Micha asks if I would recommend Gatsby to build a portfolio page. Yes, that is like a portfolio page is something where I would say Gatsby is the perfect fit because it's very static, changes rarely. I mean, I don't know how many new projects you make regularly, but it is likely not going to change every hour or even every day or probably even every month. So that makes it a great opportunity to use a static site generator like Gatsby. So yes, I would definitely use Gatsby for that. And I'm changing my camera battery. Okay, now, so we are loading that. We are saying that, yes, I'm actually gonna do a thing. Building every night with Circle CI. That is actually a great idea. So you don't even have to run the build yourself. It's just your CI system doing it. Okay, I'm gonna do a thing, and I will make a use component did mount. I want to see if that exists already. use component did mount. Okay, I'm going to very quickly make a new library, because that is a great sort of, you know, it's a nice distraction. So we say nwb new what? Actually, let's start using it first, and then we can open source later. Touch source use component did mount.js, use component did mount, export default use component did mount, default function use component did mount, which imports use effect and use. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So let's see if it figures that out again. So we got that, and we say I'm going to copy this shit. No, not smart enough. Use state blah. So it takes an effect on mounted, cool, and that's it. That's the entire effect, or the entire thing. So here we say import use component did mount from / use component did mount, and now we can say here use component did mount. Where am I? Use component did mount with a method that does this stuff. Perfect. So I'm gonna do the same thing in the logging component. So instead of this use effect, we're going to say use component did mount that does all of this stuff. We can remove use effect, we can remove it from here as well, and instead we import use component did mount from / use component did mount. And that's one of the nice things about what's it called, hooks, is that you can very easily create a new hook. So that's the thing, they have a hook for component did mount, sort of. It's called use effect. See, it's called use effect, and it runs every time that your component is rendered, regardless of anything. It's not exactly true. It depends on whether you put in dependencies. So here I made a hook specifically for don't save. What did I change? It's a hook specifically for component did mount. So the way it works is that it runs use effect, but it depends on this value that is set to true immediately after we do the thing. So that's the idea anyway. I'm not sure it's necessary. I will check with the internet later, but it's something I believe is necessary. So where was I? Okay, we have the callback component, which is our callback page, the entire page, and we render that when we come back to the CDM with more control. So we come back to the page, we get redirected here, and this handles stuff. Auth handle authentication, process the authentication result. So they're doing this in the router, make main routes, blah blah blah, root path callback, which does handle authentication, which for us happens here. Yeah. So this is the part I don't really understand. Next state and replace. I think that's a router thing. That's probably something to do with React Router. Okay, go here, do the handling. Okay, so now let's try it yet again. Go to localhost. So I'm now pretty sure that I got everything done correctly. So application is logged in. Let's delete that. Let's also clear this and clear this and also clear this. Let's just clear all of local storage. Okay, so I click login, get redirected to the auth0. Wow, 13 viewers. Get redirected to the auth0 login page. I click login. That transfers me to Google, where I then do my thing, and I come back, and our auth result still says invalid token, state does not match. I don't know what's wrong here. Because I am not doing any state. So it looks like the second time around we got everything. Did we? Handle authentication. Okay. So console log, no error. Could that be true? Error token invalid, invalid, no. Okay. So login. Login with the Googles. Click blah. Get back to auth0 callback, and it doesn't work. And it tries to do it again, and then there's no error, and we are logged in. Are we actually logged in? Because it's also saying failed to load resource with an error of 400. There could be a configuration, something wrong. Let's see what renew session says. Renewing session. Console log. Renewing, and our auth result looks like that. And let's also print the error. So plop. Now it says login. Alright. Login. Try compiler, blah blah. Okay, I'm gonna try one more thing.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Shut up. Let's see. I wonder if anyone has gotten this working. Auth0 Gatsby. Come on. Building a blog with Gatsby, React, and web tasks. Okay. Let's see. Auth0 has this one article on this. Aha, Auth0 Gatsby blog. There we go. So that's finally found something that might work. Source utils. Okay, let's try doing some of that stuff. So I'm gonna try modeling it after the official blog setup thingy from auth0. I feel like I was close, but we did not quite get there. So let's see. In their package JSON, we have auth0, and we have other stuff, and they have this stuff. So we both have auth0.js. That's good. And then do they have? They don't even have a browser file. They only have node. Modify webpack config. Okie doke. So they have weird stuff here. Lol, ein bisschen. You're funny. So what is in our Gatsby node? So they have modify webpack config plugin web global gently false. What? Why? Gatsby starter, blah blah. Pagination, we don't need that. Handy. Okay, so a lot of these are not that useful. Page length. This is all for prefixes and shit. Gatsby no. Grouped pages, we don't need any of that. We've now created the variable blah. Index page. Blog post. Okay, they have promises there, we don't need that. Fix Gatsby and auth0. There we go, that's the site. Cool. So let's try. When you have a blog, you probably have readers, and you also want to let them know when you create a new post. We're going to use auth0 to identify them. React Quick Start to get set up. Sign up for auth0. We did that. Install. Yeah. Create the auth component. We did create the auth component. So that's this thing. Except let's move it to utils auth, just to have everything the same as they do. So ls source, make their source source utils, move source auth to source utils auth.js rmrf source auth. Okay, so now we have auth.js. Change it to the React configuration, and we have all of that. So they do want us to export default the actual class. We can do that. Export default class auth. We don't export the instantiated one. We have our domain and we have our client ID. What is audience? That's new. Okay, let's keep that for now. Okay. Now in Gatsby node, edit source utils and replace your domain with your auth0 domain prefix in your client ID found on your application dashboard. Due to a dependency issue, we also need to tell Gatsby about a global variable in order for Webpack to know about it in production builds. This won't affect us in development, but later on this could come back and surprise us. Aha! So Gatsby node, and we say exports.modify webpack config equals config and stage, and we say switch stage case build minus HTML config plugin define webpack dot define plugin global dot gently, which needs to be set to false. So that sounds like a really nice gotcha. Break, and we return the config. And I really like the way React Prettier works. Cool. Quickly we'll test that we can load our new component from any part of the app. To quickly do this, we'll add the following code to our source templates index. Okay, so source templates index, templates, which doesn't exist anymore. Wonderful. So index.js, that's this one. We are importing auth and doing this. So const auth equals new auth blah and auth.log. Oh no, we don't want to just call auth login immediately. So we're instantiating it and passing it into our login button. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and remove the test code. We need a few more methods in the auth. So we got a few more methods. We need our callback. So we create a new file, source pages callback. So that's our auth0 callback, which in the render, okay, we can do that in the render, but we can also do it here. So auth, say const auth equals new auth and auth.handle authentication. Cool. So that should work. For our example repository, you'll notice we use an animated SVG in our callback. I haven't included it here for the sake of simplicity. Exclude callback.js from being rendered with our usual layout, without the bio or headers. No one should ever see the callback page anyway, so it needs to be fast. Okay, we don't care about that. No need to register the callback file with a router, which you might do in more traditional React application. Gatsby automatically routes anything in the pages directory, so source pages callback becomes /callback in our application. So that means we can go to Gatsby node and we can try, no, we can keep that. Create source components nav and paste this code. What if I don't want a nav? Okay, so we have, this is our nav component so far. So we take blah and we have use component did mount. They're using state here to say whether it's authenticated or not. Okay, we can do that. So no. So login calls auth login, but then why do they have it in a separate state? Makes no sense. Login bind, logout bind, logout auth get username and blah. Okay, we can do that. Log out auth.get username. We can try that. Okay. So that's our logout button. They want us to render the nav, which we don't need because we are always rendering the login button, which is fine. We can also always make it nicer later. Alright, so let's try this thing again. I think it's still not gonna work because it's still gonna give us the same error problem, I assume. We're also, let's see, so Gatsby develop. Okay, localhost 8000. Aha, can't resolve auth. Right, obviously. So, let's see, where is the problem? Source pages auth0 callback, because it's from utils auth, and then we go in source pages app.js utils auth, and so that's the app, and we also have it in index.js utils auth. Okay, click login, does the thing, login with Google, comes back, and then when it comes back it says invalid token, is authenticated is not a function. Okay, so where is authenticated not a function? Oh, in app.js, here we have to say const auth equals new auth, and return this sucker, pass in auth. Okay, so it's not working at all. Git status, git add dot, git commit -a-m, flop around some more. I'm gonna try downloading this thing and seeing if it works. Right? Because at this point I clearly have no idea what I'm doing. So we're gonna go to random code and say git clone this whole thing, and if their official example doesn't work, then I honestly have no idea what to do. Yarn, let's install all of the things. And I think auth0 told me to go ask in their community. Let's see. Let's see. So I'm gonna scroll through a little bit before I start searching, because I think this was a couple days ago. Auth0. Alright. Auth community. Great, that's not super useful. So that doesn't look like we're gonna get an answer quickly, but cat package JSON, Gatsby develop, Gatsby build. So let's say yarn develop and see if this thing even works at all. Okay, so we can go to localhost 8000. Oh, we should also edit the configuration. So random coding auth0 Gatsby. We got their basic blog works. We can go to source utils auth.js, and here we change my domain. Let's see, settings, My domain is thread compiler. Thread compiler, and my client ID is this thing. Okay, let's make sure it doesn't break stuff. Cool, so I updated my things. Now let's see. Localhost 8000. And we click login. Ah, callback mismatch. Let's add that callback to available callbacks. So that is also allowed. Save changes. Cool. Let's try again. We reload the page. Click login. Opens the auth0 login widget as before. Lets us click on Google. The fuck? Yes. Okay, so that's new. Interesting. So what did I do differently? Okay, so the official solution worked. My solution did not work. Why? I guess let's try to slowly dissect the differences. How can we do that? Let's look at first the callback page. The callback page has a loading SVG. It loads, it imports auth, and then in the render method calls handle authentication. Okay, then we have Gatsby node, which has create pages. That doesn't mean much to us. That it's just creating blog posts and stuff. On create node, that shouldn't matter. And what else? Side effect in render method. Yes, side effect in render method indeed. But I think you're gonna see more and more of that now that hooks are becoming a thing. So I think the main difference is probably our callback method or the auth.js thing. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy this entire auth.js into my project and see if that helps. Because maybe I did something wrong there. So we go to auth.js and let's see. And this one is 92 lines long, and theirs is only 80. So something is definitely different. And let's see, what if we change this back to auth0 callback, and in our auth0 callback, instead of using this, let's have a what's it called, a side effect directly in the render, the same way they did. Okay, now let's try this shit again. So yarn develop. So now I copied the official implementation of auth.js to over my implementation of auth.js, which I believe was supposed to be the same, and we're gonna find out if it actually is the same. And then we can compare differences. What? This now knows it's me? I'm logged in. Okay, log out. Or rather, let's clear local storage. Okay, localhost, log in button. So on logout we have to actually reload. So log in, get blah. Yes. I have literally no idea what I did differently. But now it works. God damn it. Copy-paste programming wins again. Now let's try using component did mount again. Use component did mount. And we do these things. Log out. Reload. Log in. Will it work with that? Yeah. Yes. Well, I have no idea why that works and my implementation didn't. But let's see. So git status, git status, git commit -a-m, and we're going to say copy pasta programming wins again. And now I'm going to figure out what actually went wrong because I'm super curious. Out why my auth 0 plus Gatsby.js integration wasn't working. Copied auth.js from official blog. Instantly worked. No other changes. Copy pasta programming wins again. What? Okay, so now what the hell was actually different? Git push origin master. I'm going to diff checker online and let's see what actual differences were there. So this is my new implementation and I can see my old implementation on the GitHubs. No, wrong. Okay, source, details, auth.js, and we go through the history and take this one. View file. Okay, now let's see what the actual differences are. I'm also going to remove all the console logs so that's going to make it easier to see the actual differences. Okay, so find difference. Well, okay, so it's not that big of a difference. We're changing navigate to, which actually we shouldn't be using anymore. So we say navigate and we navigate to slash. Okay, this and then we have a constructor which says this login bind. So this is the same, except we aren't explicitly binding in the constructor. I was doing it with fat arrow methods. Then we have log out, it is authenticated, set session, get user and get username, but none of this renew session stuff. I still can't tell what the actual difference was. Set session. So handle authentication was, I think, oh, that was different. Okay. So I think I figured it out. The main difference from what I can tell was that my handle authentication didn't check if window exists, and this did. So maybe mine ran too fast and broke the auth0 object state or something like that. Yeah, that must have been it, because that is literally the only thing I can think of. Very nice. So now let's see, what else can we fix? I'm going to mess around here a little bit again and change this stuff to be fat arrow functions because I like that style more. So this must have been the trick. Okay, we're gonna verify that that was actually the trick. But so is authenticated, set session, get user and get username. Okay, so now let's verify that it still works. Reload, login. So I'm now verifying that after my small changes it's still working, and then I'm going to try commenting out the main thing that I think caused the problem for me, and when I do that I will find out whether I was right. Handle authentication. So now we comment this shit out. Okay. Log me out, reload the page. Cool. Login. Thread compiler, login with Google. Get that thing. And it still works. I have no idea what is different now than what was there before. But hey, as long as it works, right? This is kind of custom auth on Gatsby. It's actually what I would say. What was I gonna say? It's not custom auth. It's using auth0. So it's kind of custom auth. I don't know, does using auth0 count as custom auth or not? Because it's not fully custom. It's using a what's it called? It's using a SaaS that does where all they do is authentication. So now we have that. What I can do next? Wait, was the audience thing the difference? What if I do this? Delete, restart, login with the Google, and I bet you now, no matter what I do, it's always going to work. Yes, of course. Now it always works. How are you liking Netlify CMS? Okay. So let's look at our login button, and why doesn't it always do the thing? What happens if we take out renew session there? Okay, so that just like always works now. Cool. Auth get username. We're not using renew session anymore, and we can take out component did mount. So if is authenticated, we say logout, blah. Otherwise, we say log in. Now let's see if we can make it so that we authenticate with okay, so add-ons. Firebase, layer, SAP, Azure. No, I don't need any of that stuff. What I want is to add Twitter integration. Okay, multi-factor auth, hooks, rules, users, connections, SSO integrations, APIs. Okay, let's see. Auth 0 login with Twitter. I'm sure that exists. Connect your app to Twitter. Create a Twitter application. Let's see. Oh, damn, I have a lot of these guys. Why is this suspended? Okay, I don't even remember what this is anymore, okay? Delete. And now I can create an app. Wonderful. Please apply for a Twitter developer account. You may continue managing your existing apps, but if you would like to create new apps or use Twitter Premium APIs, please apply for a developer account. As a developer platform, our first responsibility is to our users to provide a place that supports the health of conversation on Twitter. Okay, apply. Okay, my messages aren't going through, so I would like my username to be I'm requesting access for my own personal use. I plan to use Twitter's developer tools platform for projects owned by / in affiliation with a business organization, SaaS product, proof of concept, academic research. Okay. Organization name Swizits LLC. Legal entity name Swizits LLC. Organization Twitter username @Swizits. HTTPS www.swizits.com. Primary operation is in the US. Where are my customers located? North America. They're pretty much everywhere, actually. Let's be honest. How do you categorize your organization? Brand, no. Consulting, finance, gambling, government, media and entertainment, technology, consumer, e-commerce, enterprise. I'm gonna say I am consulting. We will serve the technology consumer thing, other utilities. Actually, it's just gonna be yeah. Okay. Maybe consulting. Continue. What use cases are you interested in? Publish and curate tweets, student project, learning to code, topic analysis, chatbots and automation, consumer and user experiments, engagement and customer service, academic research. Describe in your own words what you are building. What is the core use case, intent, or purpose for your use of Twitter's APIs? Do you intend to analyze tweets? No. Does your use case involve tweeting, retweeting, or liking content? If so, share how you will interact with Twitter users or their content. How will the Twitter data be displayed to users of your solution? Okay. So this is kind of a boring part. Whoa, that's pretty cool. They have a minimum characters limit. I'm using Twitter APIs to build a small app that makes it easier to write long-form content on Twitter. Primarily, I am interested in building a tool that publishes short Twitter threads. For now, short Twitter threads. 2. Do you intend to analyze tweets, Twitter users, or their content? I do not intend to analyze tweets or content. I can almost promise you that it is not a dev who reviews this on Bitcoin. It's probably some poor guy working in, or girl, some poor bastard working in like customer success or something like that. But it's definitely not a dev, because engineers are too expensive for this. Does your use case involve tweeting, retweeting? Yes, my use case involves posting tweets, posting tweet threads at scheduled interval, posting tweet threads. I am considering, but not sure, I am considering adding a feature that allows retweeting existing threads to gain exposure. How will Twitter data be displayed to users of your... I do not intend to display any Twitter data. No. Cool, scroll through and accept. Yes, I have read everything. I agree to everything and I subscribe to your email list of product updates because I believe that will make you like me more. To complete my verification, please check my inbox. We go to the inbox. Show inbox. Yes, confirming my email. Cool, application under review. Be sure to watch the email address associated with blah, 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 blah. We know that this application process delays getting started with Twitter's APIs. This information helps us protect our platform and blah. Cool. Now what? Let's see if it's already in apps. There are so many of these that I never actually built. Yeah, so I basically now can't do anything. So that's it for today. We got the login working. Applied for the Twitter developer program, and hopefully they approve it very soon. See, maybe I already got something. Sometimes these things... Okay, so it's gonna take a while. So I did the things, and hopefully we will continue tomorrow evening with adding the first parts of Twitter integration. So that's it for today, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Let's see, 1 hour and 10 minutes. That's not bad. Cool. So see ya. I think I'm having a family dinner time. It's super early. It's weird, but yeah. Thanks everyone for watching.